As many of you probably know already, I have depression, and I've had my latest bout of depression for the last 3 years, where I've been taking the antidepressants citalopram. I've noticed though in recent months that it doesn't appear to be working like it used to. I've been feeling a lot lower, a lot more unhappy, more like what I was like before I was on it, though not quite as bad as that. But being me, I'm like, oh, it's only just a phase, it'll be alright, it'll be okay in the next couple of weeks. And then it does, it goes away, and I think, I'm fine, everything's fine. But recently it's got a lot worse. Still not as bad as if I wasn't on antidepressants, but it's now affected my work, and I don't like things affecting my general day-to-day life. The first sort of episode is what I call them, mini episode of mine, was actually a little bit odd for me these days. It's something that happened to me a very long time ago when I was at secondary school, from when I started secondary school to the end of secondary school. And it was that I got sexually bullied. And normally these things, you carry on with your life. It was in the past, I've moved on, I've done counselling, done psychiatry, I've done all that. I've moved on from it, and I literally do not think of it at all on a day-to-day basis. Apart from work have decided to do these new security checks where they basically take you in a room and ask you to empty your pockets and stuff. But the security team are male, and they have a manager in that is also male, and it was like I was reverted to my 13-year-old self. And I got quite upset, not when I was in the room, but afterwards I got quite upset, and I was like, what's wrong with me? What's all this? So I was umming and ahhing. I felt, about telling management or whatever that I had a problem with it, because these people I see all the time, and they've done nothing wrong, they're doing their job. And I feel a bit stupid saying, well, years ago I was sexually bullied, and now I seem to have an issue with it all of a sudden. You feel awkward for saying it. So I didn't say anything for a while, but then I had another what I call episode, which was actually a man who come into work as a customer, and he was basically a pervert. He just sort of touched women's asses in the shop or whatever, and even though I didn't see him that I know of, he didn't touch me or anything like that, didn't come anywhere near me, I got upset again, and this time I actually got upset. I was crying and everything, and so I ended up having to tell management about it. And to be fair to them, they're really, really good about it. But this kind of thing doesn't usually happen if I'm on antidepressants, hence the reason why I take them. So I was a bit like you, maybe I should go and see a doctor, and I was still umming and ahhing about going to see a doctor, when a week later I was at work and I could feel myself getting snappy, and that usually means I'm going to have an episode. I started sort of, little things that irritate me on a day-to-day basis, but usually I just push to one side, were really, really irritating me. I was, things like people banging into you on my shoes when I'm trying to tidy with her bags and not looking where they were going, or customers who aren't paying attention to you when you're shouting, and anyway, stupid little things like that annoy me on a day-to-day basis, but you just push it to one side, were really annoying me, and I was getting very angry. And then I decided, you know what, I need to take myself off the shop floor, and I just burst into tears. I don't know why. I just burst into tears. So anyway, then I ended up in the office again. And to be fair, they were better than they have been previously, and how work had been previously. But I was in floods of tears, and I couldn't stop, and all this kind of thing. So in the end, I had to go home, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to phone a doctor, because this isn't like normal for me on antidepressants. So getting an appointment at the doctor's is pretty impossible, and I ended up not seeing a doctor, I ended up seeing a nurse, but she was very sympathetic and she was very good, and she took everything I said seriously. So now she agrees that we're going to take me off citalopram, and she's now giving me a new antidepressant, sertraline. And this diary that I'm doing is basically about me moving from citalopram to sertraline, because you think that would be easy from one antidepressant to another, but it's not. And a lot of people who have depression and other mental illnesses find it very difficult, because you've got to get the right balance. Some tablets send people way doolally, and other tablets just don't work at all, and it's just a murder trying to get the right balance and to try and keep healthy. And because it's me, I've decided I'm going to carry on working rather than taking the nurse's advice and having some time off work, because I don't want to sit here feeling sorry for myself all day like I do if I don't take, if I have time off. So I don't want to do that, so I'm going to work through it, even though I have cut down my hours that I'm working. I'm still going to work through it, and it's Christmas. So I get to be miserable, extra miserable, all Christmas. Excellent. So yesterday I had kind of a small-ish episode. I'll say smallish. basically, I think it was a straw that broke the camel's back. And luckily I was not on the shop floor, but basically I just started shouting and screaming and at the manager, I don't want to do this anymore, I've had enough, I'm walking out, I don't know what I'm doing here still, all this kind of thing. I mean, I would never have actually walked out, but at the time, obviously, my depression was talking and felt like that was what was going to happen. Luckily and unluckily, I kind of know the manager. She knows what I'm normally like and stuff. I've been working there for 2 years, so they know what I'm normally like, and that's not usually how I am. But she didn't know what to do, as is often the case when people deal with depression. They don't know what to do, so she panicked, which is brilliant. So she panicked, and I obviously was in a state. So somehow, and I don't know how, I ended up in the toilet. And then luckily for her, the store manager was in, so she went and got the store manager, and also luckily for her, the store manager was much more capable. And even though at the beginning we had a few words, because she said something along the lines of, oh, I hear you're going to be walking out in the middle of your shift, and I was like, well, actually, it's only half an hour to go, so I wouldn't call that the middle of my shift. Again, depression talking. Then she obviously realised that something was wrong. So she managed to calm me down, and we ended up talking and everything was fine. But obviously I didn't feel fine because I was crying, I've been shouting and stuff, and then I felt guilty because I've been shouting at people for no reason. So I felt like I needed to apologise, but she was apologising to me, and and overall they didn't handle it too badly, apart from the original manager who panicked. It wasn't too bad. Of course, it would have been a lot better if they'd sort of not put me in that position anyway. But I think it's the best anyone's done in any place that I've worked so far. So there's an improvement going on with companies and places, slow but surely. But obviously it kind of leaves you numb and drained after you have one of these episodes. But that kind of confirmed in me that I'm doing the right thing, changing tablets, because those episodes are not normal for me when I'm on antidepressants, though when I'm off them, that is quite normal, and usually it's a lot worse than that as well. So it is still quite a minor episode, but I'd rather it not happened. I don't like things, my health affecting my work unless it really, really has to. So I'm not happy, but luckily they understood as much as people who have no idea what it's like to have depression can understand. So that's good, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, today is the 23rd of December, and right at the end of work, well, I say right at the end, last 45 minutes, my body decided, oh no, let's have a panic attack. I don't know why. Like, I wasn't stressed, I didn't feel like I was worried about anything, but hey ho, had a panic attack. And I'm not sort of someone when they have a panic attack who is a bit sort of, oh no, my heart is racing, there's something wrong with me, I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack or anything like that. I've had panic attacks for as long as I can remember, basically. So I don't really worry about it. My heart rate gets much faster, and I shake and I feel really hot, and it's a horrible feeling. It really is a horrible feeling to have. But I know that it's a panic attack and that it will pass. It won't be anything, that I need to go to hospital for or anything like that. So I don't generally get really flappy or whatever. And also luckily, there was someone who also has had panic attacks before that was actually at work and is also on sertraline, the same antidepressant that the doctors has put me on. And I thought at first, I'm just going to ignore it, it'll pass. I'll just ignore it and carry on at work. But it wasn't. I was getting really hot, I was shaking, and all this. I was like, it's not going to just pass. I'm going to have to come off the shop floor and sit down or whatever and do something. So I did. I went up to the staff room, and that's where I bumped into the girl who also has panic attacks that I work with. And she sort of sat me down and was like, and sort of started chatting and stuff about things, taking my mind off it. I am supposed to have beta blockers, but I haven't had panic attacks for months. That I took my last beta blocker and I just didn't get another prescription because I was like, oh, I'm not having them anymore. You forget because you haven't had them, and you forget that you're supposed to have these beta blockers to pull down your heart rate or anything. So I didn't have any of them, so that was useful. So I ended up spending the last 45 minutes on my shift sitting in the staff room because I tried to go back down the shop floor. I thought, no, I feel okay now. I feel okay, I'll go down. As soon as I got onto the actual floor to go down the escalator to the department I was working on, it all started all over again. So in the end, I ended up having to go home. And I have to admit, I'm a bit annoyed with myself. I know it's because, you know, the citalopram isn't working and I'm going on to sertraline, so it's all a bit up in the air and stuff, but it annoys me because it's affecting work, and I personally am pretty stubborn and I don't like it when I can't get on with things that generally everybody else doesn't have a problem with. You know, the majority of the population manages to go to work, do the job and come back without having a panic attack, and it annoys me when things like that happen. But I know it is my illness and I can't help it. But it doesn't help when you have other people's reaction, like, what are you worrying about? What are you worrying about? You know, what's happened? What's happened? It's like, I have depression. It is an illness. It's not necessarily a train of thought that I have had of, oh my God. And I think that is the most frustrating thing as well, is having to explain over and over again to about 1 million different people that depression is an illness. It is an illness. Okay? Can you explain why you've got cancer? No. Because it is an illness. It's no explanation to it, and depression is no different. Right, today is Christmas Eve and I am at work again. I feel awful. I'm just going to keep smiling. It'll make me feel better inside, honestly. After yesterday, I had a little incident again, because that's just what I do, apparently at the moment, and ended up having to go home early because I was crying, so I had to get my husband to come and pick me up. It was brilliant. I still feel pretty low inside. I've got like, it feels like there's a weight hanging off my heart. I just feel really unhappy. I keep trying to, you know, forget about it and put it to one side. Especially this time of year, everyone's really cheerful. You really notice when you don't feel so great. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I got Christmas dinner and all this. And you're like, yeah, I've got open presents. I've got Christmas dinner. But your feelings are just like on a flat line. There's no up and down. So I'm going to see how I'll go today. My husband, bless him, is on call, just in case he has to come and pick me up if I'm in tears again, but I'm hoping not. I'm trying to keep positive and thinking that soon the tablets will work and I'll feel better and much more normal. But I'll tell you how I get on later. Right, it's been a month since I've been on sertraline, and I went back to the doctors for like a review on Monday, and it is now Saturday. Basically, the doctor said they think it's too soon to know whether I'll be okay on 50 milligrams of sertraline, so they're going to keep me on it for another month. Kind of have mixed feelings about that because I feel like I've levelled out a bit, so I haven't had a panic attack, and I'm not having one of my episodes where I'm in floods of tears or whatever, or shouting like I've been before, which is good. But I feel like I am basically at the level I was when I decided to change tablets originally. So it's not brilliant. I feel unhappy every day. I'm still dragging myself around everywhere. I feel tired physically and mentally. So another month of this, with the possibility of it not getting any better for the next month, is not brilliant. But on the upside, work have let me cut down my hours, which means that I think has improved how I'm coping, and is probably more the reason why I'm not having the episodes rather than the fact the tablets are working. But anyway, that is going to be the end of my diary for this section. So soon I'm sure I'll be back letting you know how I'm getting on with sertraline in the future, and if I have to go like further up and how I'm coping and stuff. So in the meantime, hope you're all alright, and I'll see you all soon.